George Custer has gone down in the history books as a failure that led to over 200 US soldiers perishing at one of the worst US military operations of all time. And yes, it was as bad as it sounds, but there's so much more to Custer other than his last stand, and his story may have been one that ended in tragedy, but trust me, it was a story that was filled with much glory as well, for better or for worse. Custer started out as an average American working odd jobs in his youth, but as with most historical figures, he had a lot of ambition and knew that he would never achieve great success on his current path. So after gaining a letter of recommendation from a local congressman, he enrolled into the West Point Academy to study the strategy of war. This was a huge leap for Custer, but it wasn't all handy-dandy, as he would frequently get disciplined for misbehaving and would graduate last in his class. And if it wasn't for an officer shortage due to the Civil War starting, Custer would have likely never seen the battlefield, at least as an officer. His first assignment was leading a cavalry unit at the Battle of Bull Run, and even though the Union eventually lost the battle, Custer earned praise from his commanders for his bravery and brilliant tactics. And this wasn't just luck either, as for the remainder of the Civil War, Custer would rapidly get promoted, and by the end of the Civil War, he was promoted so heavily that he became one of the highest ranked generals in all of the Union. And at the age of only 25, he was one of the most successful people in the country for his age. But this was about where his success would halt, and where fate would define his legacy. After the Civil War was over with, Custer was sent west with the 7th Cavalry, as the American military would now shift its focus to the native tribes, who occupied much of the land that America wanted for Manifest Destiny. After being suspended for a bit for deserting his post in 1867, Custer was assigned to be one of the 3 forces that would soon be attacking the native village of Little Bighorn. But instead of waiting for the other 2 forces to catch up to him, Custer made the decision that he would take on the Lakota by himself. So on June 25, 1876, Custer gave the command to all 210 of his men to charge the native village. But what Custer failed to realize was the sheer number of warriors that he was facing, which was well into the thousands, and it would be the end for not just Custer, but all of his men, as every single American soldier would perish in the battle, with the natives showing no mercy on the battlefield. The Battle of Little Bighorn really was a historical battle, as it showed the seemingly undefeatable Americans being defeated in one decisive battle, and the outcome of it was in large part thanks to George Custer. But I think where Custer truly made his mistake was his overconfidence, because he most likely developed a huge ego after becoming the young hotshot general in the Civil War, and probably felt invincible because of it. To be honest, I think that we can all learn from Custer, as even when we're at our best, just like Custer, it can take a 180 and change from good to bad in an instant. So never get too cocky, and always practice a degree of humility.